Okay, with all of this done, it's a good time to sit back and look at your project. And I looked at mine and said, I love the side of the rim here in proportion to the pot, but look at the rim, how far it stands out from that side of the pot. I was going to fix it without you knowing about it, but I said, nope, this is a great learning one. Don't worry about it. You can fix anything. It's only paint. If I go back into the Georgia clay and I just add to that side, and as long as I add the equal amounts from the top to the bottom, it will still match the angle of this, because that's the most important. So I'm going to bring it out halfway, because I think the rim only ought to go up to there, and bring it straight down. That will be the difference. And if I just fill that in, like that, let that dry, won't even be noticed. Isn't that? It's a lot better for a small adjustment. So really, it's truly only paint. I might add another little layer in there. You can still see a bit of a line. But let that dry, and we'll worry about it after I get the leaves in. And then just evaluate, take another look at it. Okay, let's go to greenery. I think of this as having vines going all through it. Being a trellis, they usually require a lot of viney stuff. I already shook my paint and put it out on the palette, and I picked a fairly dark green and a lighter green, because I like working with two different colors. It adds depth in any of the greenery that you do. If you come from the center of the pot, you can see how much I loaded on the brush. Check it out before you use it on your palette. Make sure that it's not going to be that strong of a line. Remember I told you that don't worry about the trellis meeting? It's because you'll compensate with any leaves that you put on, any vines. I'm going to come from different spots and bring it in different directions. And I'm also going to cross over. See, the brush had a little bit too much paint on it, but then I have some skipping areas. Wash your brush off again. When you get the water off of it, leave some of the water on the bristles. Just make sure, as I said, you don't have any water on the ferrule. And go back and redo it. Turn it upside down. Is a great way to deal with it. Come out of the pot and just bring the curls out and around. And just add a few on here and there. And you're really going to add it a lot with leaves. Whichever way you want to put them in and out. And when you put these, bring some branches out from the ones that you already have out. Okay, so that they split off on their own. Isn't that pretty? Also, because you have a wonderful pot there, is bring some, I had a little too much paint on it, bring some from out of the pot and then bring it right over all that hard work you just did. Add some greenery on it. It's so cool. It's like a bold move when you're painting. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go over that pot. But what a difference it makes. It makes it realistic. It adds more stuff to the front of it. I like that. But while I have the liner out, let's use this on different colors. Do a brown and the straw color, and let's make it look like there's straw coming out of here. These are tendrils, so they're very soft and curly and soft flowing. When I think of straw coming out, it's a little bit more angled, okay, a little bit more harsh. Think of it that way. I like to do dark ones first, and they really come out at a haphazard way because the birds aren't very neat and kind of cross over a little bit. Some areas are blank. Don't worry about that. And then once I've got the dark, I just go into the light, and it mixes the first few times I do it. So sometimes I get a medium color that comes out. It's very desirable. I also want to make sure that the paint's actually going over the lip there. There. So we have a little bit of hay coming out. Got to see those lines coming out so that they know that, yeah, There's something in there. Just fading it off into there. My blending tool, you got some of those, you can see I use mine a lot. But it just goes in a little bit. Okay. Clean that one. It's really nice not to leave your fine liners standing in the water. Those bristles don't really like it. Okay, I wet the brush again. I'm going to go with a round brush this time. See, I have some paint loaded on it. It doesn't go all the way up into the ferrule. I do have some paint on it. And I'm going to do a simple brush stroke here. Take the brush, a round one, and when you press it down, it makes the top open up a little bit. And that's the desired effect, but then I'm going to lift it. When I lift it, I'm pulling it toward me so that it leaves a narrow trail because those bristles come back together. And that's going to be my leaves. Really a natural leaf. Isn't that easy? You can actually do them pretty quick too. First ones, I'm going to do a whole set on here of just dark. And remember I talked about, don't worry about where it fits on there, is because I'm putting leaves right over there. See, didn't have to worry about them being exactly in because it's gone now. I'm also running out of paint as I get further on. That's a desirable effect. I want it lighter and smaller as I go away. So as my brush is loaded a little bit too much, I'm going in pretty dark, pretty heavy, and then naturally I'm running out of paint, but I can go smaller, a lighter touch, and that'll be nice. That gives a nice transition with really minimal effort. When you're doing leaves, the only rule is that the vine that they're coming off of, or the branch, use that in the direction of your arm or your hand, and the only way the leaves will come off of it is in those directions that your fingers can go. So that way you don't have a branch this way and a leaf hanging off that way. And that, then people will it'll just feel right when you look at it. Okay, I've added enough dark leaves on here. I'm going to switch to the lighter color. Oh, this vine doesn't have any. I want to switch to this. I don't have to worry too much about washing this out because I want that transition of color. That way I'm still getting the true color of my base and I'm not introducing anything different. And every time I load up with the lighter green now, it'll just keep getting lighter. And I'll do a few leaves of this. I don't see too much difference. I'm going to go back into just the light, add them in, and I'm going to start getting a little bit more depth with color, a little bit more artistic interest. And I'm just basically looking all over the piece, not individually on each little vine. I'm looking all over saying, oh, it's a little light in that area, oh, it's a little light in that area, and just popping them in. It's that unscientific. I think what would also do a little something for this is to give it a little bit of color. And I'm going to do that with the liner and this pretty color plum. Simple little flowers, simple little flowers. I like that liner brush, as I said. Make sure it's got the water. I think this color should pop off. I'm going to just do 3 little petals. So a little triangle. They don't have to exactly meet. Don't sweat bullets over this. This one should be quick and easy. And sometimes when you get close to the end, you can do just a couple of little single ones, and then you just pop them anywhere. And I don't put them too close to each other. It doesn't need that much. And it doesn't, I said, it doesn't need an exact. Ooh, picked up about too much paint. A little bit there. Down here, I am trying to put it not necessarily on leaves. Well, that one came out a little funny. Just a tad of color, just a tad. Okay, let's give that a chance to dry and play with that one for a little bit. And we'll see how it goes, and it's only paint.